Alright, so today's movie review is Guys and Dolls from 1955, starring Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando, and directed by, oh my goodness, Joseph Mankiewicz. Yes, Joseph Mankiewicz directed it. And let me share some behind the scenes details about this film. So, from IMDb, after filming repeated takes of the scene where Sky, Marlon Brando's character, and Nathan first meet, they had to quit for the day when Sinatra had eaten too much cheesecake. He said he was not going to take one more bite. Brando, however, knowing how much Sinatra hated cheesecake, would purposely flub his lines so that he would have to keep eating the cheesecake. The next day, they came back and shot the entire scene perfectly on the very first take. So I think that's pretty hilarious that Marlon Brando kind of messed with him. But there's also kind of where you could see where Brando definitely was not a team player. He was definitely, I don't want to say full of himself, but he's definitely one of those actors, one of those method actors. He's definitely the proto of that, if you will. And then another detail, Frank Sinatra also loathed the fact that Marlon Brando couldn't sing, and also the fact that Marlon Brando got the starring role. So that just bothered him even more. And Sinatra kind of got the more secondary back part, which is pretty interesting. And Sinatra nicknamed Marlon Brando Mumbles just because of how terrible he thought the singing was. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But now let's get into my thoughts on the plot. So the plot, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I actually really liked it. I love the idea of a gangster falling in love with a very, a straight-laced Christian missionary woman. I thought that was a hilarious dynamic and a hilarious idea for a romance. And I actually really bought the romance between Brando and Gene Simmons. I thought it was pretty realistic, and I really liked it. And I also thought Sinatra and Blaine's was hilarious, but also was a bit sad. I mean, if you think about it, like Frank Sinatra's kind of holding her on for 14 years, and he keeps disappointing her. He keeps saying, "Oh yeah, I'll quit gambling," and then doesn't. Like, he's kind of terrible to her. So I don't know why she stuck around for him, but anyways, it's also played for laughs. It's not super serious, but I thought that was pretty interesting. But the reason why I gave this a 4 and not a 5, I just wanted more time with Frank Sinatra's character. I felt like we didn't really get to see a whole lot of him, and I would have wanted more of him because I think he's the better singer, right? I want more Frank Sinatra. If I'm going to watch a movie with him, I want more scenes with him singing. We don't get too many, but the scenes we do get are good. I just wanted more. But yeah, that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. Now let's move on to the acting. So the acting, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought for the most part it was really good. And I will be kind of adding their singing performances, because that kind of accentuated and added on to their acting, since this is a musical. I thought everyone had a great singing voice and did very well in their respective roles. Gene Simmons, she did great. Vivian Blaine, she did great. Frank Sinatra was perfect. The only one I actually didn't like was Marlon Brando. He was a good actor and perfect in his role. He's a terrible singer. If you ever heard him singing, it's not good at all. And I definitely think it was a weird choice to pick him because of that fact alone. It's like, Brando can't sing. Sure, he was a huge actor, and really, really huge actor at this time, but I just thought it was weird that they picked him for a singing role, considering how he couldn't really sing. But other than that, though, I loved the romance, the relationships. I think it was very believable and very fun and entertaining acting-wise. So that's why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Let's move on to directing. So the directing, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought Mankiewicz, Joseph L. Mankiewicz, I thought he did great here. He had a great cast. He had great scene direction. The sets looked incredible. He did a fantastic job here. And this is one of his more popular films. In fact, I actually reviewed another one of his, A Christmas Carol. I didn't like that one as much as I did the Scrooge from the 1950s. And another film that I'm going to be reviewing later on this season that I've seen several times, The Philadelphia Story. I'm looking forward to that. I don't think he directed it, though. I think he maybe produced or wrote it. because he didn't just direct, he did a lot of other roles in Hollywood. But anyway, I'm very excited to watch that one again. Anyways, he did a 5 out of 5 for Guys and Dolls. Alright, let's move on to cinematography and special effects. I gave that a 5 out of 5 as well. I thought it looked incredible. I love the choreography, the color grading, the set pieces, the camera work. All of it was amazing and very grand and big scaled. And I love the widescreen. I think it was VistaVision, I want to say. It looked incredible. And I think there is a 4K of it out there. I would love to see it, just to see how they transferred it. Because what I saw was, I believe it was on Amazon Prime. It looked good, but I was like, I gotta see this on 4K. I think it'll look incredible. But yeah, I think my favorite scenes overall, though, was the scene in Havana. I thought the dancing was great. The costumes were great. It was a really, really cool set piece. And I also love that there's like a fight that breaks out at the end of it. It was really, really funny. And then I also loved what's pictured here. The opening scene in Times Square was really, really good, too. So overall, I thought it looked and sounded incredible. It was a beautifully put together film, for sure. All right, let's move on to the music. This is probably the most important part of a musical, is the music itself. 5 out of 5. Now, I believe it was a stage play, or a Broadway play, rather. I have not seen that, so I don't know how the film compares to that. I imagine it's pretty similar, but I give it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was amazing. It was hilarious. It fit all the scenes very well. And again, I got Sinatra pictured here. I wanted more of him. He sounded incredible. Now, I don't know how much of it was live, how much of it was recorded versions of him singing. But either way, he sounded so good, man. I wanted more of it. And I love the background score, too. It was very catchy, very memorable. There's a famous song from the movie called Luck Be a Lady Tonight that, funny enough, Brando sings. I don't like his singing, but that's probably the best song he sings in it. But just overall, it's fantastic music. 5 out of 5 for sure. Alright, so tallying that all up, that brings my score to a 4.7 out of 5, which I'm rounding to a 5 out of 5. And that makes my criticalist score a 94%. And so let me break down the criticalist score overall. There's no graphic language. It's perfectly fine. Violence, there's some fighting and shooting and a bit of blood, but it's all played for laughs and comedic. It is not serious at all. It is not. Even though they're all gangsters, it is definitely not a gangster movie. It's essentially a cartoon of a gangster movie. I'd compare it to like a Looney Tunes. Alright, for nudity, sexual content, there's some, scantily clad women in dresses and whatnot, but there's no nudity, there's nothing like that in it. It's very, very tame. Let's see, political bias, there's none. Family friendly, I would say it's very family friendly. Probably for, I don't think boys would like this movie though. I definitely think musicals are definitely more geared towards girls for sure. But my wife and I had a great time watching it, and I just love the music in it so much. And I just thought the idea of a gangster falling in love with a very straight-laced Christian woman, I thought was a hilarious dynamic. So that alone made me really enjoy it. And so entertainment value, it's very entertaining. I had a blast watching it. I definitely want to pick this up for my home collection. And so with that, yes, I recommend this movie. It's one of the better musicals I've seen, especially recently. And probably one of the funnier movies I've watched recently as well. So I definitely recommend Guys and Dolls from 1955. Alright, well those are my thoughts overall, and that's been today's movie review.